How's it going, everyone? It is Monday, May 20th, 2024, and this is the video for today. So let's go over the positions from the last video, or the picks from the last video. I gave out two callouts. I gave a day trading long and a day trading short. Let's look at Hood, which was the day trading long. So when Hood was setting up right here, we had this setup. Nice strong move, compression break, great volume, and a really nice entry point. And we had a decent amount of room to this high, coming in at around 2055, which was this high from March 27th. And I said in the video, look, this is nice, but we got a little bit of a tail. Let's see if this breakout holds. Let's give it a bar. Breakout did not hold. Fell back in the gap and retraced back to VWAP. So this was a pretty easy no trade. If we had a nice key green bar that closed on the high of the day, I'd feel a little bit more confident entering immediately because that price action is a lot stronger. This little tail right here tells me that it's not as strong. I want to be more cautious. Even if you entered on this pop, if you had a great exit plan, you would have taken a small loss on this trade because you cannot let it go back in the range. It should not be going back in the range. So Hood was a no trade. The next one I recommended was X as a day trading short. So X very, very weak earlier in the day. Market was flat. I want to talk about that M5 in a second. And there was a nice entry point earlier in the day, or right around 1025. And that's where I took a nice little win on X over here. Made a big move later in the day, and the market was pretty dead, so we knew that this stock would probably die, sort of in the middle of the day. It's going to pull back. We want to wait for that second option later in the day to get short. I set on an HA reversal. So if we look at our HA candles here, we got one reversal here, which we could have taken, but there was D1 resistance that we had to be careful of. So I wouldn't have taken this HA reversal here. You can't just use one method to always enter. You want to evaluate the context, and the HA reversal is sort of the icing on the top in terms of the entry. So we get this bounce here. We get this very strong selling climax. Then we get the bounce. So if you were short anywhere in the day and you see this climax and this bullish engulf, definitely want to get out of the trade here. Pulls back, and then it starts to die. It's really helpful if I put up the SPY overlay here. So this was the clue that I saw. It came back to test this D1 resistance around here, as well as this kind of relative low for the day. Poke back, testing this D1 level, and it just can't get anything quite off the deck. And then finally, we break down this compression. So it's losing relative strength, lots of choppy action. While the market's bouncing up here in an LPTE day, the stock is compressing and then it breaks down. So this is when I took the second entry here, and that's when I would have taken it on X. And you wouldn't have targeted anything too much for two reasons. One, it's a pretty dead day, so you want to keep it pretty passive. Two, this is a pretty decent bounce over here, so the low of the day is most likely in. The best case scenario, we get close to the low of the day. The worst case scenario is that this is the double bottom right now, and then we kind of get it going. So we're going over here. The market really drops here at 215, 220, and this stock doesn't really drop too much. It gets this pop, and then the market brings it back down. So entered here, and I took a small win on this stock over here, gained a lot of relative strength, and we avoided ourselves a pretty big loser. So X was a tiny win for that day, and it all kind of came down to your entry and your exit plan. If you kind of chase this low of the day here, you would have to get out of the scratch. If you panicked at this green solo candle, you would also probably take a small loss. So this was a little bit of, I think, a trickier stock to trade. It's a little bit more poppy. It's made a really big move. And it has been a little bit newsy with all this news of steel and Biden kind of wanting to bring some production back in or banning some of the deals. There was certainly probably some news on that day. Yeah, there was traveling to U.S. to lobby for steel acquisition. So certainly some news-driven movement over here for sure. So we're going to take these out. We are still in GE. And let's look at GE on the D1 chart. So again, very weak stock. I'm not really crazy about it, and I'm just waiting for either for it to nullify my thesis, or for the stock to pop up and get kind of going again. You can see obviously very weak. The market's been rallying. GE has been sinking in lower. At this major support level, one promising sign I could see here is if GE forms a little double bottom and actually starts to get a new high that breaks above a VWAP E. If I see that, I would get a little bit more bullish on this stock. It tells you that this support level is confirmed. But right now, there's still a lot of selling pressure that it had to work off. And if it wasn't for us getting the market right, we would have taken quite a bit of heat on the stock. So we're still in GE, but again, we're just setting our expectations as to what it could potentially do. We're keeping an eye on it over here. We're going to keep an eye on the market on a D1 basis. And I expect that we'll probably exit GE sometime this week. That's sort of my feeling. I think that's when we're going to get some sort of technical confirmation to get out of the trade. Time stop wise, though, yeah, it's certainly quite overdue. All right, market. How is our market looking? Well, again, we are long-term bullish fundamentally. The economy is strong, but there are a couple of warning signs in terms of some of the economic releases. So we're just going to be monitoring those. Our long-term technical. Oop, got a little message. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. My boss pinged me, so I had to reply to him pretty quickly. Should I be working? Probably should be working right now, but this is more important. So our long-term fundamental, we have the economy still strong, but there are some warning signs of the slowdown. We're going to keep an eye on the unemployment report, keep an eye on the CPI number. Going to keep an eye on ISM, as well as retail sales. So some of those bigger releases. Long-term technically, again, we got that really strong move a couple of months ago, pulled back, not super long in duration, about 2 weeks. It was decent. It wasn't super short. It wasn't the most bullish, wasn't the most bearish. It was like, it seemed like a normal pullback right above the 100-day SMA. Digested some of the news, and then we started to get some lift off. So this move on this second cycle, this up cycle over here, has been pretty nice. I think it's been a little bit more orderly. Just the volume has been quite light. So we're being a little bit more careful. If you have some longer term swings, unfortunately, my longer term swing that I entered has not produced in this leg. But if you did have a longer term swing that produced, you had a chance to add to the trade here and add to the trade over here. Now, shorter term on this upcycle, I think we made a pretty okay move. I like how it's been orderly and tight, and I also like how we have been able to make a new all-time high and continue the uptrend. So still bullish longer term, and that shorter term cycle confirms that longer term trend strength. But I think we're a little closer to the beginning and then to the end, and that I wouldn't be adding so much of my positions aggressively as I did earlier because we're farther away from the beginning of that cycle. So that's what we're seeing on a shorter term technical basis. In terms of swing trading, I think there may be some opportunity for some short term swings, but I want to see two things. One, the market close above this prior day high, and the market to get kind of above the all-time high. Because if this has some resistance over here, or at least finish very close to it, because if this provides some resistance for a while, and like we said, we kind of see some flat compressed candles, then you know, we're not going to be as bullish because we know that some resistance is in for the short term, and we may have to see a dip before we get long again. So that's what we're seeing on the shorter term. Let's zoom in into the M5 chart. Okay. So, market M5, what happened the past couple of days? Well, we got this all-time high on the 16th, so we got some continuation after that FOMC move. Stock had a pretty choppy move down. We had this bearish channel, and here's one thing you guys can notice in terms of the stages of the rally, right? We're getting this pullback. We know it's weak, so it already gets us a little bit more bullish. After the pullback, right, bears have control. Now in this flat LPTE day, this is a more bullish sign. It's a sign that we're getting now even closer to the next leg of the rally, because instead of the price going down, it's going sideways, which tells us that sellers have less control, buyers have more control, and they're equaling each other out. So this compression day, this LPTE day, is actually good in terms of a longer term context, because it tells us that buyers are getting, or buyers are sort of overwhelming the selling pressure that we're seeing earlier, and we're reaching more of an equilibrium. The only way you can reach an equilibrium if there's less selling pressure or more buying pressure. Then at the very end of the day, we got this probe low. We broke through this gap, no follow through, bearish hammer, snap back into the range, nice volume, nice price action, finishing very close, or finishing pretty much right at the high of the day, or making a new high of the day at 355. So that was a nice move on the D1 chart. So today we had this flat open, and the market had a really strong move in the morning, which I thought was great. That tells us that, hey, buyers are starting off strong. This is nice. Good price action, but the volume is a little light, and we got pretty ahead of ourselves with this long green candle. Prefer a little bit more steady buying, so we want to see if this holds. We're pretty close to the all-time high, so and we also have this bearish cycle pending. So when we got this strong move early in the day, this is good, but we said, hey, look, let's just wait for this market to come in a little bit. We're probably going to get a better price. We'll find some stocks that are strong, and then we can actually get in on those. So market strong, and I thought this was a nice opportunity right here to enter in. We got this benign bearish cycle here, one apiece crossing up. This red line is above the blue line. The blue line's flattening out, so nice opportunity here, but market doesn't really produce. We get this double top, nothing quite going, and then the market kind of pulls back a little bit over here. And then we test VWAP. We're testing, looks like, the breakout of this opening candle. We don't quite retrace all of it, which is good. We're holding VWAP, but certainly we are finding some support right around here, 530.71. So this day has sort of died on the vine. We had an opportunity to get a nice trending day, and then we couldn't get anything going for the next, 30, maybe 60 minutes, I would say 45, 50 minutes. Couldn't get anything going. And the market had a bit of a double top, came back down, another double top over here, and made some new lows. So now bears have a little bit of control. So what do we do with this information? We got this bullish cross coming in here. How can we profit? So again, I've been doing a lot of work in my day trading. I've kind of finished my R&D work, and I'm now focusing on executing everything I've learned. So there was a couple of nice plays that went on early in the day, which I'm going to highlight. And now's a good time to be patient and wait for some plays later in the day. There are two windows of opportunity. The first is kind of within that 45-minute to 2-hour range. The second window of opportunity, which is not as great as the first, but it can still be profitable and I think is a lot more easier to manage, is trades that happen later in the day, maybe in the last 2 to 3 hours of the market. And so this is kind of what happens. Let's look at some of the picks that I tagged. TXN is a great one. So first, we know TXN has an excellent, you can ignore this line here, excellent, very strong daily chart, beautiful daily chart. And we had this nice move up higher, compressed for a little bit, and you can see how we had this triangle formation. I love these triangle formations. They usually happen later in the day, but sometimes they happen earlier. So TXN hit this triangle formation, hit this top, came back here, tested it again, and look at this. Higher low, tested it again, pulled back to the 8 EM8, broke out over here, and held the breakout. So you enter TXN here at 11. This is going to ignore the market because there's so much, all this profit taker is kind of gone out, and we get this strong momentum in our favor. So this stock is moving up higher, and the really strong trend strength. Marcus now starts to pull back in a little bit, and here's where I take some chips off the table at 1140, at 1145. It's still looking pretty good. Take some chips off the table, but we want to see, hey, what's maybe the market going to do? Are we going to sell off pretty strong here? So you have one window of opportunity to take a nice win on that trade. mRNA was a nice pullback entry. What I would do is wait for this LRSI pullback. Breaks this level here. Market is going down, but this stock is going up at 1150. Next stock 1155 continues the trend strength over here, confirms the LRSI break, pops a little bit here, and it absolutely takes off. This is a really nice risk reward opportunity, and you would ride this until probably this bearish engulfing candle. This might be a little short term, a short term low, or sorry, a short term high over here. Our market bias has changed. It's a little more neutral, so we'd want to scale out of the trade and take some gains like there. QCOM was a nice trade that I took earlier today. So it was this nice flat open grinder chopping up earlier, and I took it right here. It's a good entry. The best entry is probably right here at 1040. Slightly better entry, but it's grinding up higher, and it compresses, tests the bottom of this range, moves up higher, comes back down to test the previous high, moves back higher, comes back down, tests the previous high, and then moves back higher. So QCOM was nice. I got in here, and I took some small profits over here because usually these flat open grinders will kind of lose steam if the market becomes a little bit more LPTE. So took profits kind of into strength here, missed some of this move. If you had more than one share like I'm practicing with, you could scale out of the position and then ride the remaining gains here. But I had one share, so took my remaining gains at that point. So some of these longs were doing pretty well, but our market bias has changed, and we didn't really have any market confirmation to add to them. So, we just kind of ride the move higher until it starts to stall out. So those are some earlier opportunities in the day. There's also some opportunities that we could have maybe avoided. If you took ANF over here, you chased it earlier in the morning, you are down the entire day because you didn't let the market come in, you didn't let the stock come in, and the stock ended up being a loser. Same thing with HIMS. HIMS pretty nice move, but made a massive move earlier from the last price. I mean, closed at 1548, made a high, so moved up 25% in a couple of minutes in the opening candle. So not something you want to quite take. You want to wait for it to come in a little bit. Kind of went pretty parabolic in the beginning. RCL, another one here, came back in a little bit, moved up higher, kind of wavering, and now it's coming back in. This could set up decently for an LRSI cross, but it's certainly given up a lot of ground. Not as strong as it once was earlier in the day, but we'll set an alert here, see if we can gain some relative strength. So couple of things, couple of potential picks here earlier in the day. You could ride this up and then take some gains over here, but now our market bias is changing, and we need to be a little more careful. Some of these longs could be losing some steam. The longer this market pullback happens, the more you're really fighting against the tide, right? You're going against a headwind, and eventually it's going to slow you down. So we want to find some stocks that could set up for two opportunities in the market. The first scenario here is that we compress all the high of the day, and we probably have an LPT sort of day. Maybe you avoid some trades, and you want to find, in my opinion, some nice compression breaks. Here's why I like some compression breaks. When the market is doing nothing, absolutely nothing, right? There's no trend. The stock's going to have to do all the work. A long compression are buyers and sellers fighting and trying to justify if this price should be where it is. When you get the compression break, it is a huge source of fuel to the move. If you're going long, right, buyers are going to come in, sellers are going to get flushed out, or sellers are going to get squeezed out, sorry, and then we get that next leg higher. So something like TXN, if it was compressing over here and we got that compression break, there's a lot of fuel to this move, and this stock is going to keep on going under its own power, regardless of what the market does on an LPTE day. Now, if the market really starts to stack red candles and heavy volume, no stock is going to be able to withstand that. But on a LPTE day, the market's not going to provide any help, but it's also not really going to hinder you. So you want to find really nice stocks, and you also want to find great entry points. And very importantly, you want to know when your market bias will change or what will cause it to change. Just because the market is in an LPTE now doesn't mean it's going to be in an LPTE forever, right? It could change. Look at something like this. LPTE day they've got that poke and then we got that poke up. So it still ended up being LPTE. But if this had follow through, you'd have to know that this was going to change. Same thing with this sort of day where we got this move up, we're continuing, and now we start to see some choppy price action. You have to be ready to change your market bias. So, three possible scenarios for the day. One, we kind of maintain this bearish channel, and I'm going to draw something like this. I think this could be the new bearish channel coming down here. We maintain this bearish channel, and we could probably take some day trading shorts. So that'll be one pick I'm going to look at. The second option is that, well, we might test the high of the day again, and we just kind of waffle back and forth, really slow, really low volume. We don't do anything. In this case, you can probably favor either side, a really good long or really good short. Get those compression break entries. We're going to see if we can find one that could set up. Enter those and then sell into strength. The third option is that the market actually does get a nice bullish cycle that produces to a new high of the day and holds through that. If we do get that scenario, then we can enter some day trading longs later in the day, ride them up, and potentially even swing them overnight, depending on how strong this move is higher. So let's see a couple stocks that are looking relatively strong. I'm going to look for first on the some strong stocks that are compressing. Ooh, Netflix is really nice. Wow, that is a nice move. Excellent move. Breaking out of compression, testing these highs over here, all-time high, breaking through this major compression here. Not a ton of room. I'd want to see it clear this level, but I don't think it'll clear this level today because this is an all-time high, and it'll need some market tailwind to really get something going. MSTR, that's actually a stock I'm in personally. It's doing excellent today. Found some support, moved up higher, grinding higher. So that's actually a pretty nice one we can set an alert on for a day trade. So what I would do on these compressions, you see how it's hugging the 8 EMA, forming these higher lows. And we're preserving most of this move, right? So here's the move, here's the pullback, right? Here's where we've kind of found our scaffolding on the 8 EMA, right around maybe 1650. We found a ton of support here, and now we're just riding it up. mRNA is really nice. Again, we want to see most of this move be preserved as a short compression. So if we get that little compression break, we get something going. This isn't the normal setup I like. CAT could be pretty good. This is a bit of a longer compression. The longer the compression, the bigger the move we get out of it. These tiny compressions are just pullbacks in a stronger trend, like something like this, right? Tiny pullback and then we go. There's not a lot of buyers and sellers getting squeezed out. This is just a sign of very strong trend strength. FCX. We're going to look at the D1s in a bit. I vetted a lot of these D1s, so I know ANF is pretty good. Let's see with ANF here. Let's delete that. So certainly does seem like there is, yeah, some resistance at this level. So the high of the day is a temporary sort of blip. We didn't spend a ton of time above it, which tells me that resistance probably here. We do have some stuff at the high of the day here. Pass, rocket, EQT. EQT, that's a bit of a longer, kind of the longer compression that I'm looking for. Holding all of these gains. Not quite the pattern that I want to see. Let's see what stocks are maybe grinding up here. We have Netflix, mRNA. Let's look at CAT. A lot of these are the same, to be quite honest. Rocket. Okay. Nothing crazy. Let me see anything on heavy buy that's coming out. There's AMAT. AMAT is a nice mover today. Really strong price action. This is a pretty nice pick. NVIDIA earnings coming up. We're just day trading this. Broke through a lot of levels here. That's a nice move from AMAT. Gonna add that. Mara is a terrible D1 chart, but it's a nice little intraday chart. Same thing with CLSK. Looks like crypto stocks are doing quite well. I know App has a nice D1 chart. There's an okay D1 chart. Just gonna try to find the ones. Yeah, if we can get through here, then that's a nice opportunity. MU not too bad, getting above that relative high. Nice LRSI cross, so we kind of missed our entry point. I'd like to get in somewhere here or here, so not terrible. You can see how this stock was really strong, and then it really pulled back in. We want to check if there's any D1 resistance we have to worry about here, which looks like we do. I think this is the all-time high on MU. It is. So hitting that all-time high here, we could break out. Again, we need that market tailwind, I think, to get to any all-time high right now. So there's a couple of decent stocks coming up over here, but nothing super compelling right now. Let me check out the bear side before I give my pick. I did like Lulu earlier today. This was really the ideal short. Excellent D1 bearish chart. Looks like it's found some support. It's pulling back here. I think this could set up really nicely for an LRSI entry. So let's set a alert here on Lulu if it pulls back. This is kind of about the time where I want to see this this stall a little bit, and start to now make its move lower if the market finds resistance at the high of the day. So market's moving up. This is flatlining, which is great. When the market stalls, I want this to start to break down, and then we can get in on this stock. See anything on Bear Grinder? I've been loving this search from Spectre here. Cisco? No, I was going to say Costco. Cisco's, saw this earlier, pretty nice. Certainly some room to this level. Pretty choppy stock. Yeah, very nice price action. Cisco is pretty nice on the short side. WHR has been beaten down. Took a couple of nice short wins wins on the short side on something like this. That's not a good bullish explosion. So this is a really wide grinder. That is interesting. This is pretty nice. So this is like, see, a really wide compression. And you can see two things here. So we have our support somewhere around here. And then we're getting this, right, this downward pressure on prices. And now we're actually breaking through. So this is a really nice entry point on Unity. Check the D1 though. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of low minus trend lines coming here. Could be, I think they're also balanced. Let me see if they're balanced. So no balanced ones yet. I'm not crazy about it because it's in this bearish channel and we're at the down part of it. So it could work, but I'm not as crazy about it. This is really nice. I saw this one earlier in the day. This is a beautiful chart. This might be my pick of the day here. DLTR. Earnings 522. So again, we're just day trading it, so it's okay. This is really, really nice. Almost no green HA candles. Very strong trend strength. Yeah, as soon as the market gave up at 11 here, yeah, really nice. Yeah, I think if it pulls back to the EMA here, and you get it on this sort of candle at 1250, that's a nice entry point. Time it with your 1 P cross. I think DLTR might be my short pick of the day. VFC, pretty nice, but a little bit, see this price action, this tall bounce here tells me that there's buyers, a little bounce with the buyers, so not as nice as DLTR. Yeah, that's probably gonna be my bear pick of the day. If we find resistance at the high of the day again, so I'm not gonna take the short quite yet. Might be AMAT. AMAT could be my long pick of the day. So yeah, so Snow is kind of the one that, kind of the setup that I like here. I think the D1 is pretty god-awful because I was shorting it earlier. Yeah, pretty god-awful D1, right as AV WebQ, but just in terms of the M5 price action, you can see how we're testing this level many times. They're trying to break out, and there's this upward pressure on prices from the bottom. Ooh, this is tough. This is pretty tough. Yeah, probably AMAT. How would I enter AMAT? Well, I'm going to draw my channel. Here is our channel on AMAT. Probably something like this, I think, is the channel. Yeah, so we're at the high, so wait for it to get to the bottom of the channel, and then when we get this breakout of compression, you can enter on that break and get a nice HA reversal alert. So that's what I'm going to set on the stock, an HA reversal alert. If I get in, then I'll keep it up. If I don't get in, then I'm fine with missing that move. All right, mRNA is moving. So yeah, AMAT is going to be our long pick of the day, and DLTR, let's pull up this chart again, is going to be our day trading short. But wait, kind of wait for the market here. Again, we're right at the all-time high. We got this bullish cycle, so just kind of play the cycles over here. Really try to get a good entry, and if you miss your entry point, don't chase, because you will be in quite a pickle on these LPTE days, like over here. In terms of swing trading, I want to call this out pretty quickly. I know this video is also running pretty long here, 30 minutes. In terms of swing trading, I'd like to, again, see us above this prior day high and above this all-time high before I get in on any swings, or at least finish very close to this all-time high. I'm okay with that, and I expect to see that breakthrough in the next 1 or 2 days. If I see that, then I'll take some short-term swings, some swing scalps. I would buy at great points and probably ride it until the move stalls or sell into strength, because again, I think we're closer to the end of the move. This favors more swing scalps. Earlier in the move, you could ride this out and add over here. With swing scalps, we're not looking to add. We're just looking to take a nice quick win on the daily chart. So in terms of some nice D1 breakouts, mRNA, beautiful D1 breakout. We also want to take a non-chip stock, and ideally maybe even a non-tech stock, so we can kind of avoid some of those earnings. Okay, so Kava could be really nice. Actually, let me see if IFF produced. Okay, that was a nice breakout earlier, but yeah, Kava is very nice. So I'm loving it. Is, again, kind of holding up this level here. If we can get above this high from May 10th, we break above it, we test it on the intraday chart, and we close above it, Kava could be really great. TXN also might be, this might be my long pick. This is an absolutely beautiful chart. This used to be an absolute mess of a D1 chart. And so far it has been absolutely breaking a lot of these levels. Let's zoom out just to the weekly chart. Yeah, this is important because you want to know where these all-time highs are coming into play. So here is the other all-time high, and then there's also a little bit of resistance here. So if we have some market tailwind, we can challenge these. Let's go to the end. So you can see that, okay, TXN's looking good. Might get a little bit of stopping over here. So we just want to be cautious of it. That's all. If the market is strong and the stock is strong, we have the potential to break through these levels. Cat is, whoops, really nice M5 as well. Certainly a better industrial than GE. I love this retest of the 100 SMA, confirming above it. If we can close above this high, we're also trying to fill in this gap. So a couple of things here. Cat has quite a bit of potential, I'd say. Has to get through its high of the day. ANF breakout. Yeah, it's between TXN and Kava. HPQ is also quite nice. It's a good LSI pullback you can enter in on. Compressed and then broke out to the all-time high. We got room until this downward sloping trend line. Yeah, IDA. Ooh. It's only because it's tech, though. I don't want to get too crazy. mRNA will make a big move, but we want to see it pull back here. I think this is better to day trade, in my opinion. Netflix. He's going to test that level. Tech is pretty good. Yeah, it's really hard to give a nice, really great swing. I'm going to look for any strong D1s here. HPQ. I know Apple has been pretty strong. Apple's not a bad swing, too. It's finally getting some support. There's certainly some stronger D1 charts. We got some room over here. It's pulling back. I know Google was very strong. Yeah, might find a little bit of temporary resistance here today. It's at a nice point. Qualcomm is a really nice swing as well. Yeah, I guess I'd probably have to give an overnight swing. So yeah, sorry guys, this is just a interesting situation because of the NVIDIA earnings. It puts a bit of a wrench into the picks that I want to give. So I'm going to pause the video and then I'm going to give a pick. Okay guys, I'm back. I am going to go with Apple as my long pick. And for two reasons. One, the D1 chart's looking a lot better. There are better D1 charts out there, but the ones that I found are either semis, which doesn't give us a lot of time because of NVIDIA earnings, or they have made a massive move already today, something like mRNA, where it's made a pretty big move, and this stock doesn't just continuously, keep going, right? It's going to pull back a little bit here, just not quite the price that I wanted. So, that's kind of why I'm choosing Apple. So yeah, that's going to be our swing pick of the day, and two conditions here. One, market has to close very close to the all-time high and certainly above the prior day high. Two, Apple has to probably make a new high of the day or close very close to its high of the day, and it has to preserve its relative strength. So if Apple holds above this high from the 16th, and the market holds above the prior day high, and they both close close to the high of the day, then I would take that trade. Thanks for listening, everyone. I know this was a bit of a longer video, but a couple things I wanted to go over with some of those day trading setups, and what kind of happened past couple days with the market. Thanks for listening, and we'll take a look at these on Tuesday.